on. Good morning, everyone. Just making sure I'm looking dapper. Alright, let's see if we can finish this up today. I'm still waking up myself. He's been laying on the ground in my bathroom. Here we go. Even though I have a little bathroom set up for her right here. Yeah. Princess time while we Princess.
It was like this when I got here.
Princess. Hey, good girl. Who's your good girl? Who's your good girl? Who's your good girl?
I didn't know what to do. I called you because...
Calm down. I'll take care of this.
There we go. Now I can see you better. Here's the good girl. Who's your good girl? Oh, so if I can not give you kisses. Who's your good girl? Oh, no.
Had you already finished looking through these papers?
I wish.
Well, I guess you'll enjoy sorting all this again.
Think I had any Jackson seed? That might tell us. Good morning. Good morning, the Rational Did. Yeah. Have some little princess time right here for you. Yep, the only stream that matters. The cute little doggies, huh? Something cute. I'm sure she probably thinks it's weird, or any kind of pet probably thinks it's weird that we're just like standing around talking to like absolutely no one. How you doing today, the Rational Dove? Oh! Yay! Hi, Soundtrack! How you doing? I hope you both are having a good morning. That's fun to catch your stream the other day. I also saw Soundjack's video
What are you
on
doing?
the
Do you like
the
sardines?
microbots for
Excuse
the,
me?
like,
Do you
mini
like
Transformers.
sardines?
I found that interesting. Like, you should do more video contact. You really have a nice voice too, Soundjack. You have like you have a good voice for like readovers and stuff. A good narrator voice.
Looks like the burglar isn't interested in bureaucracy.
Doing well, working on some editing. Ooh, fun.
Not that I
Hopefully this
suspected
time
otherwise,
You don't have a
but it's
hard
obvious
drive.
they weren't looking for money.
Oh, am I?
Did they
I
take
might
anything?
need to talk
No,
a little bit louder.
although-
Or just pull this mic in a little more. How's that? Because I don't think I can actually make myself any louder. Sorry, Princess. Gotta switch over a little. Pull this mic in closer. There we go. Maybe if I pull the mic closer and speak up a little more. Yep. Ah. I was sort of afraid that would happen. Fortunately, these Blue Yetis are so versatile, but they're heavy as hell for like any stand. Oh, drop the music? Yeah, I can drop the music. Actually, I don't even have to get up. I could just do this. changes. Yes. Yeah, thanks. I think it's cute. It's not something I would actually wear in person. It's way too professional, but I think it looks cute with like the mask. And to sort of like buy into the aesthetic. Let's see.
Bingo.
What is it?
Nothing. Just a freshly signed contract.
Yeah, no problem. I mean it too. He's got a great announcer voice. Right, so the gym's been burglarized. Burglarized. Wow, I still can't say that word. Burglarized.
Is this yours?
I think it belongs to the new cleaning lady. Mary just wasn't working out, so she left.
Clarice Freeman?
Yes. You think she did this?
Hey, how the hell did you know her name? Blacksad, are you spying? So I get the feeling that this new cleaning lady too is supposed to be black. The filters on the flashback do not give the greatest representation. She sort of.
Wait here,
I don't
please.
know. Is it just me? Am I reading too much into it? But she kind of looks. She kind of looked a bit like blackface. But here we get to see her. Oh, we get to see her dead body color. I think judging from her face, she's supposed to be somewhat sexy, given that they kind of give her a big butt, too.
Could be a knife wound. The murder was
The
brutal.
audio, the visual glitches are strong today, it seems.
I can just picture her saying, "Honey, I found a job. We're finally gonna make ends meet."
And here's the heartbreaking part.
Ah, damn.
Okay. Also, what kind of cleaning lady goes to work with high heels? Actually, I don't think I pointed that out with Mary, but she also wears high heels to be a waiter or to be a server at a diner. It's like, who the hell wears like? Was the stereotypes for like the 1950s that strong? They had to be uncomfortable and wear high heels.
I want you to call the police, Sonia, and then go straight to a friend's house. Don't even think about going home, and definitely don't come back here.
I'm staying at a friend's house. I haven't even set foot in my father's place yet.
Good. Do you have the keys? If the murderer didn't find what he was looking for, that might be his next stop, if he hasn't been there yet.
There's also a trophy for Blacksad getting everyone killed. everyone he could potentially get killed. Which is kind of misleading because he could also potentially kill other people, but killing those people leads to a fail state. But you have to, like, convince Mary. It's essentially people who die via his actions or lack of inaction.
For once I had the keys to the place.
It's an old-timey key,
which meant I wouldn't have to use my lockpicks or...
Were they really using old-timey keys in the 1950s? Or at least they're the part that hooks to the keyring? What achievement do I get for seducing Smirnoff? Ooh. Let's see, a thirsty achievement. Unfortunately, it's on an official trophy that you can get, but it's more like a self-rewarding trophy. You also have to use your imagination a lot. That's what. Let's go with something
Today,
simple.
everything's an art. So what next? The art of hopscotch?
Smirnoff is a trophy husband. He sure is. Although he works a lot. He wouldn't be home very often. Gotta keep up that jazz theme. And I assume this
Look
is
at
a
that.
Little Richard
The guy sure had good
reference?
taste.
Is it Little Richard? No. Wow, I am blanking on his name. Jazz artist who was blind? I think he played the piano? I really don't know much about music. Just needs to be in bed. Yeah. Honestly, do you imagine this, like, having... Ray Charles, there we go. That's exactly what I was thinking about. Ray Charles. He needs to have a good spouse in the house to ensure that, you know, all his needs.
It's hard to believe that a pair of boxing fists could play something like this, although I'm sure he had the lungs
take
for
away
it.
from those needs, from all those resources of providing and satisfying his needs.
As I glanced at the telephone, I remembered the weekly password for O'Leary's illegal gambling operation. Even though I had rejected his reward for telling him about Colbert and his wife, and had chosen to bet it all on Yale, I had managed to make my own dirty money after the Eagle Pimp suddenly quit the poker game.
Also have this
How much damage could another bet do?
Make a bet. Means I have to adjust the camera a little. Stay in frame.
Yes.
Wild strawberries.
Welcome, sir. May I ask for the beneficiary of your bet?
That wasn't the password. I'll be selfish.
John H. Blackmore.
I see.
Blacksad needs
Event.
Stone versus Yale. Madison Square Garden.
Left.
Got it. Amount?
$5,000.
Winner?
Yale wins.
He's gonna
Place
bet it
of
all on
delivery?
me.
I'd seen several locations written out in O'Leary's basement, but I could only remember one, courtesy of my new matchbox, La Iguana Pool Room.
All right, sir. Good afternoon.
I see the sun, I see the opportunity to call Smirnoff. Yeah, I wish. I know. You should call him. Also, do you think... I don't think Blacksad would make a very good, like, house spouse. He'd be, because he'd be too busy doing his detective work, so he wouldn't be home.
Wasn't Dunn's nickname the Quiet Lynx? I'd swear I saw that on a poster at the gym.
Even if, I'm like slouching again. even if Blacksad and Smirnoff got together, I don't think Blacksad would just stay at home. He seems too obsessive compulsive.
It looks like Dunn had already begun to move his things.
Well, I really wouldn't say call. That's why Smirnoff and
Dunn?
Blacksad prefer to each
Thorpe?
other. They're always out.
No idea. And these two, they look familiar.
I swear I don't remember. So I swear that the with each patch, Dunn really deserved to live. Yeah, he did. Considering he seemed to be a pretty good man overall, although Sonya does reveal that even though he seemed progressive, he really wasn't all that progressive. He seemed a bit, I guess, progressive in terms of the 1950s, but not, I guess his view on women and stuff wasn't all straight. As we'll, soon find out.
Of course. Now I see how Dunn bought the apartment he was going to share with Mary.
Yeah,
this place has to be
At least he
empty in
seemed
2 weeks
progressive
for
in
the new
terms
owners.
of
I wonder if
race
Sonya
relations.
knows about this.
Is that a lewd cat icon?
Sardines. It's been open for a few hours. Ready-made meals on airplane trays in front of the TV. Who would have thought we'd end up eating like this?
I like how he has fruits and vegetables and then a TV dinner and some booze.
Dunn died
At least
4
I think
days
that's
ago,
booze.
and that
So,
lettuce
I
still looks
swear
okay.
that I don't remember the art assets being this bad in terms of are the textures loading this badly? I mean, maybe it's not because I played the okay, yeah, so even though this is the PlayStation, I'm using a PlayStation Pro 4 Pro to play this. I think now that I've played the Steam version, my PC still, I think theoretically is much stronger or more powerful than the clipping to the wall. Yep. Even though I think my PC, even though it's older, it's still much more powerful than the PlayStation 4 Pro. So I think I'm now used to seeing better graphics, because I remember playing the Steam version being able to reflect Blacksad and not just be hazy. And I remember the assets loading up better. And of course, this isn't running at 4K either. This is running at 1080.
Could this be the origin of Sonya's interest in business management?
Okay, so we got our gloves. So I think this is weird.
What's this doing here?
What do athletes run around with gear that they autograph themselves? I can understand labeling your equipment to your name, but would you really just actually use your signature and actually sign it? Oh yeah, a 4K Blacksad and Smirnoff animation. Oh, that would be hot. Even someone didn't go out of the way to make their models new just then, kissing and stuff, would be hot. So here's the closest to where we get the reference to the title, and it still doesn't make any sense. So we got Frank Sinatra, or Frank
one of the very few
Palia,
teen idols who only got better with age.
with the song Under Your Skin. Which I mentioned in my last stream that
Another empty
that if
closet.
that's supposed to be Frank Sinatra did sing a song called I Got You Under My Skin. And which is a cover of an older song. And even then, like, timeline-wise, it doesn't make sense for that poster to be there. If that's supposed to be sung as childhood poster and she's been away for at least, like, 6 years.
You still looked at her every morning, so many years later, with a new love? Maybe we don't need to forget. Maybe pain just transforms into,
for that poster to be
I don't know, something.
Smeared off along the fur. You know what's interesting? Like, a lot of the fan art that I see of Smirnoff doesn't, like, there's plenty of fan art of, like, Blacksad and Smirnoff together, usually, like, being supportive of each other, and of course there's a few sexy time ones with them, but a lot of the Smirnoff fan art that I see seems to be him with other people.
This is too private.
Just like randos. They seem to be like OCs and stuff, and it's always the implication is that he's cheating on his wife and kind of essentially getting his rocks off. Either through just like hookups or like some form of like prostitution, but it's mostly like hookups. And strangely, a couple of him with
this how he got in?
Weekly.
Elaine. I think that was Dunn's wife's
Is that
name,
something that's in the
according
comic?
to Jake.
Like, does he seem to be like the one that's like some guy that's cheating on his wife with not Blacksad? At least like with someone who's not he doesn't have a relationship with. Yeah, it's a weird fetish. Yeah.
No matter how hard I look, I'm not getting anywhere.
Yep, I didn't look
What
at
the hell was the burglar looking
bathroom,
for?
which is fine,
And most importantly, did he find it?
Actually, I didn't want to do this yet. Oh, that's fine. I can just record this later. Yes, you want to come back up? Come on. Come on, princess. Come on.
It's pretty clear that the burglar came by the house before heading to the gym, which means he probably didn't find what he was looking for in here.
Citizen.
I need to talk with Sonia,
At least he
and
seems
maybe
like,
with her
he seems
uncle
really
Tim.
idealistic.
It brings back, I don't know.
Good memories?
An optimist, are we? It's like remembering the last day of summer. Scenes full of joy, picturesque landscapes, and yet the light is faint and the air is still. The calm before the storm.
She's gonna be like...
I know that feeling.
I figured that much. I can see it in your eyes. We met in the Army. We were all professional athletes. They called us the Olympic Five.
Who's the guy on the right?
Angus Mitchell,
is it weird that
our combat medic, and a doctor with the New York Warriors. It was Spanow who got him assigned to our platoon.
I could only see relationships develop between slowly. Yeah, between Blacksad and Smirnoff.
Hey, isn't that Craig Spanow?
Like,
The guy on the Morty's billboards?
Since you've read
Yes,
the comic,
indeed.
Rasmus
Our
has,
captain.
like, how long have they known
He was
each
the
other?
oldest, after
like,
all,
how far back do
and star of the New
Blacksad
York
and
Warriors.
Smirnoff go?
He was an orphan, you know. But he loved the sport so much that he said baseball was his family. He was the one who had Mitchell assigned to our platoon.
Was Dunn already boxing?
Yes, he was. I had
I've
already
only
seen
read,
him
a
fight
brief
before I even
synopsis,
met
and
him.
it seems like
He was as humble in the ring as he was in
Blacksad,
life. He'd always let his rivals
his
take
first
the
graphic
initiative.
novel, he
I
tracks
remember
down
how he barely
Natasha's
dodged the
killer and
blows.
he kills
If
them,
he didn't
and
look at his feet,
he and,
it seemed like he wasn't even moving. And the footwork,
he and,
pure dancing.
Smirnoff, like,
You could
cover
almost
it
hear the
up.
music. The song would play
fact that-
until
that
his
Blacksad
opponent was
killed him.
exhausted. Then came the drum roll, followed
Probably
by
since the
Dunn's
war.
victory by
Is that
KO.
like the implication? I
Who's
would
the guy
assume
on the
so
left?
because I don't think
Ah,
I feel like
Victor
it would make
Sukovsky,
sense
the
because I
athlete.
don't feel
You've probably
like
heard
a
of his medals.
commissioner or chief would just I don't know be as a buddy with a private eye like Smirnoff is with Blacksad.
What about you?
I had just signed with the Milestones. I hadn't even...
That's weird. I'm not sure why like the game audio did. It wouldn't surprise me if OBS or Streamlabs like mess with the audio. Turn this down some more. Here, since I can't actually hear this, how does this sound with like the audio test? Am I still loud enough? I really hate that I can't see the bars between like the audio levels of between my mic and the device that the other devices and sounds that are coming through without scrolling, and even then I can't actually look at them together.
Sometimes when I walk into my office, I get the feeling that I'm
technology.
walking among the ruins of a lost civilization. Not because of the reigning disorder, but because
Here,
it feels like the
just to be
remains
safe,
of
how about I turn it
civilized person
down
I
a
used
little
to.
more?
Sometimes when I walk into my office, I get the feeling that I'm walking among the ruins of a lost civilization. Not because of the reigning disorder, but because it feels like the remains of the civilized person I used to.
Played my first game, but people said I had a bright future ahead of me.
And you did. The cop at the hospital sure seemed happy to be the proud owner of a Tim Ironarm Thorpe autograph.
Okay, there we go.
Who would have thought that I'd end up becoming Tim Iron Legs Thorpe?
What happened?
I fought the Nazis for 2 years, up there in the sky, over Europe.
It all leads back to the war.
And I never set foot in a field hospital. 3 years later, I crossed the street without looking. And look at me now.
What happened to all of them?
Zukovsky died the same day they injured Dunn. Dunn received an honorable discharge and came home. He quit boxing and opened his gym. Mitchell was redeployed to a field hospital. Spano and I continued in the same unit, but nothing was ever the same. You see what I meant with the last day of summer. And after the war, well, who the hell cares?
As I was saying before,
I do.
Smirnoff Snuggles, yeah. As I was saying before, like, I swear with each
What happened
patch,
to Spano?
while
Well, you've
some
seen the
bugs get
billboards.
addressed, I swear
He
that
made
the
it big
technical
time. When I was
visual
forced to
glitches
retire,
get
I got him some
somehow get
advertising
worse.
deals.
Like things that
That's
were
how I
broken
founded
before
this
seem to
agency.
get broken.
But then something happened to him. He became sullen. He fell out of
I do
shape.
have that.
Slowly but surely lost touch with reality. He withdrew
I
from
do have
public
this
life
right
and
here.
broke off our friendship.
Hey, Smirnoff.
Haven't heard from him in, what,
How you
3
doing?
years? And believe me, I've tried to contact him.
See, I got Smirnoff right here.
You think Spano might have been involved in Dunn's death?
Spano?
Watch the game with
no
me.
way. He and Dunn were always... Well, Spano's changed so
Hopefully
much
he's not
that
too
it's hard to
creepy.
say.
Some people didn't really like this mask very much.
What happened to Mitchell after the war?
Mitchell? Who knows? We lost touch. I hope he's doing well.
I think I saw Mitchell not too long ago, but I can't remember where.
Seriously? Please
Yep.
try to remember. I'd love to hear from him again.
I'll do my best.
Allow me to double your wage.
Should be
You have
leaning
to
into
find
there
the
we go.
murderer. Maybe Dunn stayed in touch with Mitchell or Spano. Maybe even with both. But he never told me anything. Maybe Sonia knows.
I doubt it. But that's not the only question I've got for her. May I?
The only time that I'm pretty sure if I'm correct, it's like Sonia's a lesbian lover.
Yes?
Sonia,
No, she's not here. Who's calling?
where is she?
So, here's the thing. It's very subtle and you have to read into a lot. So, here's my theory about that.
You know, it's...
So, here's my thing about that. Here are the clues that I see. First off, she seems very disinterested in any men around her, which I mean is not really saying much. Jake seems to be really into her, but it doesn't seem to be reciprocated. That seems more like a friend thing. She's very put off by Blacksad, and especially right now, one of the dialogue options, if you compliment, you get to choose a list of compliments. If you pick any of the ones that compliment her beauty, she's kind of put off by that. Again, that doesn't mean really much. Bobby Yale describes her as odd, which I mean is, again, also doesn't really factor in much. But then the biggest clue is that if you kill Mary off, instead of holding the picture and instead of holding a picture, she's holding a letter to Sonia that she meant to put on the desk. Essentially saying like, hey, you know, there's you and I have a lot to talk about. Jake probably isn't her type. Yeah, I figured that Jake is Jake would probably have a lot to find would have a hard time finding a woman that's into him, considering his attitude. So, Mary will be holding a letter that she meant to put on the desk for her. It essentially says, you and I have a lot to talk about, you know, your father. Also, and then it ends with her saying that also, we know about you owning a house here in Manhattan, and we need to talk about that. Like, it's worded like that, and it's like, okay, that's a really weird thing. So, they know that and it's actually not that. It's like, we know you co-owned an apartment here with, here in Manhattan. We need to talk about that. So, that means that she owns an apartment here in Manhattan with someone else. And of course, also in the same scene, she says she's staying with a friend, and she's staying at a friend's house. She hasn't gone to her father's house yet. Blacksad just called, and it's a woman who answered. So that tells me that's her friend and her co-owner. I mean, it could also be it's New York and two people co-owning an apartment, irregardless of whether they're lovers or not, might make sense because of how expensive rent is. I don't know if it was that bad in the 1950s, but honestly, my read is that she's probably in a relationship with another woman. Her father and Mary knew, and I don't know. Maybe they weren't approving of that, or maybe it's just something that they wanted to talk to her about. At least that's my queer reading of it. It's very you really have to read into it, and I could be totally wrong, but that's the impression I get. Also, it's while the camera does hydrate. I will hydrate. So even though the camera does as I mentioned in the previous screen, kind of ogle her sometimes, like there'll be some butt shots of her here in this scene when she gets up. There doesn't seem to be any kind of like chemistry between her and Blacksad, and noirs usually do this thing where it's like the detective has some sort of like sexual tension with a female who it's usually either like the client or some sort of like femme fatale like suspect, and he has no one here. And sort of like there's implications at times where she gets emotional. Blacksad can be comforting, but it never comes off as any kind of like, sexual tension between them. It seems more like Blacksad, like kind of finding his humanity and, trying to reassure another person, hey, it's okay kind of way. Especially like when they hug. It seems more platonic than romantic. Although it is romantic in like the classical sense that's like romantic in the actual action and not lovey-dovey or sexual in any kind of way, if I'm making any sense. And I shall hydrate. Do-do-do. That's why it's always important to keep a straw when I play this mask. I don't know, Razzmatazz, what do you think? Does that make any sense, or am I just reading too much into it?
Have you ever wished you'd never been born?
What?
All the time.
I live with that constant thought.
Then we're both in the same boat. First time was right after moving to
I feel Blacksad would be cynical enough to say.
I hated my mother. She was the reason we moved from the countryside and the smell of freshly mowed grass to this dirty city and the smell of medicine. Her medicine. The second time was after she died. I hated myself for having hated her before, for not having loved her enough. The third time was when my father shut himself off. I hated him for that, for abandoning me, for giving in to the booze. Now he's dead, so take a guess.
You hate yourself for having hated him.
Yes, but that's not the worst of it. The problem is I don't know how to live without hating him.
Daddy issues.
Over the last few years, everything I've done was meant to push my father far away. To avoid being like him. To avoid making his same mistakes. Without him, I just don't know who I am. And you won't even let me hate Bobby, which might actually help me.
The more you hate, the worse you feel.
You think I don't know that? I need someone to blame. Without that someone, I have only myself to hate.
I'll find the person who did this. I promise.
Let me have my doubts. Although, you've already come so far. I'm sorry I haven't been a little more grateful.
In any case, you shouldn't hate yourself. You are... No, you have such good qualities.
Like, yeah, don't compliment her beauty. Go with smart and kind.
You're as smart as you are kind.
That's what my father used to say. Why would you think that?
You try too hard to hide the latter, but I'm a detective.
Anyway, can we just drop the subject?
I was gonna say, like, honestly,
Yes.
she hasn't said anything or done anything that I would,
Which leads me to believe he didn't find what he was looking for.
And what was he looking for?
that I would consider
That's what I intend to
kind.
find out, with your help.
I always assumed Sonia was Blacksad's Girl of the Week, so I never pursued her. I don't know what would happen if you did. You don't. So if you try to go with all the romantic stuff, it's all platonic. They never kiss, and there's never any kind of implication to kiss. Oh, that's another clue too. The hospital. So the first time that you go to the hospital and she tries to shoot Bobby Yale and Blacksad stops her. Tim comes in and he'll kind of comment like, oh, who is this? Oh, no, it's not that. It's like, this is the detective stuff. Like, oh, I thought you had good news for me, kind of. And he kind of makes a big deal of like, you should be with someone, essentially. Like, all the men in New York should be throwing themselves at you. And it's kind of like that, oh, so it probably means that she's never had a boyfriend before. Which, again, could also not mean anything onto itself. But it sort of does imply, at least, like, to me, it's one of those things that I always got when growing up. Like, hey, why don't you have a girlfriend yet? That's kind of weird. Like, you should have a girlfriend already at, like, age 16, or talk about, like, girls, which I don't, because I wasn't interested in girls.
I found a picture taken during the war.
The Olympic 5.
Did you meet any of them, besides your father and uncle?
Well, Uncle Tim actually isn't my uncle.
No?
He and my father loved each other like brothers. Did he tell you that he saved his life?
Thorpe saved your father?
I like these little flashback animations.
They were flying over
these
Britain
little
in a 3-unit
flashback
fireplane.
drawings, illustrations.
Zukovsky was the pilot. My father was the co-pilot, and my uncle manned the machine gun. Suddenly, enemy fire killed Zukovsky and injured my father, which is why he never boxed again. My uncle jumped out of the gun turret, ran to the cockpit, and managed to pilot the plane to safety. Oh, the times my father told me that story. And now...
Of your uncle.
You still have your uncle.
Yes, I guess you're right.
About that.
Maybe he can also save me.
It's funny that even that I'm attracted to women, I've never wanted to get a girlfriend. Hey, I think it's fine to not... I feel like society kind of pressures people into being in a relationship and stuff, and I think it's fine to not have, like, any kind of relationship. It isn't the norm, but I don't think it should be something that's pressured, like, oh, you should have, either had a boyfriend or girlfriend or, someone in between or something. Like, I don't think you need to be partnered with anyone. Granted, there's pros and cons to living with someone and being in a relationship, and it's not for everyone. And I don't think it should be something that should be thought up as weird either. Like, and of course, everyone also likes to complain, like, girlfriend and boyfriend, or just spouse or significant other with, like, sexual partner. And honestly, I don't think the two should be, like, the same thing interchangeably. They can be mutually exclusive from each other. Like, you can, hey, you find either men and women attractive, and you either have casual, like, you know, sexual partners, or hell, maybe you just like random hookups with either women or men or both. Like, who cares? Like, that's great. You don't need to have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, anyone. Or hell, like, I know it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people, but, like, you can always just have, like, you know, friends benefits without the whole, like, being in a dedicated relationship of any kind of way. I'm here for the sex positivity. Yeah, exactly. That's what I like to try to do with my channel. You don't need to fulfill. There you go. That also includes the absence of sex and monogamy. Yeah, exactly. You can be in a relationship with someone and never have sex with them. I think that's fine too. Although, you know, as much as, like, it's the positivity, like, I wish more people had that kind of mentality. Unfortunately, we live in a society and where, you know, sex and monogamy are, like, considered the norm and, like, the default. And I wish we could just move away from that in some way. And I think by kind of promoting and showing different types of relationships, having representations of relationships, like, we can, you know, I think that's good. Maybe kind of show that, you know, you don't need to have, you know, this relationship and stuff. Granted, it does make it awkward to talk about if you're not really open with, like, say, family and stuff. Like, I usually don't talk about, like, you know, any fuck buddies that I have with my mom or something. Or just, like, the fact that, like, sometimes we have, like, guys over and both my husband and I play with them, or sometimes just one of us play with them. I don't think she'd quite understand. Also, I want to take a look at, like, these little, what are these, like, emotes that you're pulling up? Oh my god, I thought that's what it was. Oh, no. Fuck. No, I thought I recognized, oh my god, now I'm spacing on his name too. So, yeah, I thought I recognized the art style through the mesh, and the fact that I have a screen, like, further off that way. It's a Fenris, is it Phoenix Fox's, is that what his username is? I know it starts with, like, a PH, but the guy who's doing the A Fox in Space cartoon series. Oh my god, I love those emotes. Especially that lewd fox.
Did you ever meet Spano? What can you tell me about him?
I think I saw him once, but I was just a little girl. I think my uncle turned him into a star.
I remember seeing his old stuff, like, a long ass time ago.
Autograph in your room.
Oh, I've never seen it. My father must have put it there.
Actually, like, if you've ever caught some of my other streams, I play freeze pop music.
Did you ever meet Mitchell, the doctor?
Mitchell? The lizard? No.
There we
never.
go.
Why?
Nothing.
Frederick Fox. Yes, there we go. As you can tell, I'm very terrible with names. Like, I can remember people's names. It's just like, I have trouble saying the names or, like, recalling how to say the name and convey the name.
Your father sold his apartment. The new owner's moving.
I remember seeing a lot of his old stuff before. Some of his weird, wacky videos and some of his Flash animations.
You'll have to talk to her sooner or later.
My father. Even now, he finds new ways to make me hate him.
Your dad had great taste in music.
You think? Let me guess. The same taste you have, right?
Exactly.
You don't know how happy that makes
me.
I
quite understand that. She's happy that Blacksad had the same taste in jazz.
Stop, or I'll end up hating you.
So here's Toaster.
I'm also a fan of Frank Papalia.
Oh yeah, the poster. I only liked him because my father thought he was too modern. But I'm glad we agree. I thought you shared my father's taste in music.
Yeah, she'll say the line, like, she'll say the same things regardless of what order you say them, so I'm not entirely sure what's up with that.
Did the abacus inspire you to dabble in finances?
The most useful gift anybody has ever given me.
Gift from Uncle Tim.
A gift from your Uncle Tim?
He used to say that in this day and age, a woman should know how to count. My father didn't agree, but he didn't oppose it either. People thought he was a liberal because of his attitude towards racial issues. But at home, things were different.
Also, here's something that I also came up with that is a really big stretch, even for, like, me, my little, like, headcanon theory. So I also believe that her Uncle Tim and her father might have been like her two dads at one point. But that's a really huge stretch because so she says that's her childhood room in that 2-bedroom apartment. So as we'll learn here, and like she mentioned before, they lived out in the country. They lived in a house before. Her mother got sick, so they moved to the city to, try to treat her. She died. He fell into drunkenness. Tim will later mention that, like, when he came back from the war, like, I think his wife died already at that point. Dunn's wife died at that point, so he ended up, and since he had no place to stay because he was pretty much still, even though he was kind of an up and coming athlete, he was still rather a nobody. So he stayed with them. Like he mentioned that, like, Dunn opened up his house to me and let me stay there, until, like, I became famous and stuff. Well, if you look at, like, Dunn's apartment, if that's the same apartment with, like, Sonya's childhood bed and stuff, so it's like, so where did he sleep if she still has her childhood bedroom? Like, it's like, did Dunn and Tim share the same bed? It's like they're used to that from, like, the military days and stuff. I don't know, maybe they got a cot in the living room, but it's like, Granted, Dunn was probably going through a lot of shit and, being too busy drowning his depression with booze and stuff to really, like, be in a kind of gay relationship, so it doesn't work. Probably some, like, drunken ruttings, maybe. They were lovers at some point, but it probably fell apart. That's why he moved out. But he still had visitation.
It's odd that there are practically no toys or memories of your childhood in the room.
Especially considering that he pretty much raised Sonya for most of her childhood.
My last happy memory.
these little drawings are cute.
It's
Although it really fucks with me because, like, even as a kid, she really has more of a human face than anything.
I loved reading stories about
She seems more of a cat girl in these drawings than like a furry.
Treasure map for me. I searched the whole house, one clue at a time. It led me to this enormous tree in the yard where Daddy had put up a tire swing. X marks the spot, so I dug to find my treasure. I loved the music it played, the ballerina and the little secret compartment. Oh, the secrets I kept in there.
Yeah, I thought the music box
I think it's the first time
done
I
was
heard you
hot.
call your
Yeah,
father
he was.
Daddy.
Really?
Honestly, I thought that the music box was gonna be come into play because she mentioned a secret compartment and the secrets she kept in there, but it doesn't come up again. I don't know how to feel about a cat lady with luscious lips. Yeah, so that's the problem I have with like this weird art style. It's in the comic. This is yeah, it reminds me of Cats on Broadway. Yeah, so this isn't like an art direction for this game. This is in the comic where the men are more anthropomorphized than the women. So, but it's only the women that are supposed to be quote unquote attractive and sexy. So the attractive and sexy women have have a more human face than the women who don't look sexy, who aren't meant to be sexy and attractive. If you caught the stream from last week, you saw the two nurses from at the hospital. They look way more anthropomorphic. Hello, male gaze. How are you doing? Exactly. But that's a thing in the comic, so it's an adaptation of the art style into video game. So it does look weird. But like it's also odd that like all the men are animalistic. So I wonder if that's just a comment on like the men being animals and pigs, maybe? Even Blacksad here. The Blacksad's cute. He's got a cute face.
Are you cold?
A little. Maybe I should go. Anyway.
I think it's weird to say that she's cold because I guess she could be cold, but that looks like a sweater or shirt. Now see, here we got some male gaze.
Sonia.
More male gaze.
Thank you.
Aren't you coming?
I knew I was looking at a solution, but what exactly needed solving?
Damn it, I should have recorded that too. Oh well, I can come back to that. Although, I'll have to sit through that entire sequence again.
Maybe Dunn used the same hiding place once more.
It's kind of weird logic there, too.
I'll never understand why detectives and criminals bust you while they fight each other in the pictures. What a waste of
I like how
focus and
his
energy.
ears fold back when he gets mad. Like a real cat. Oh crap, now what?
It's not the lack of credibility in the screenplay that bothers me. Plus, it's actually pretty handy. When a crook talks to you in the middle of a fight, you know you're up against a rookie.
Here we get Daddy Smirnoff.
What did they say?
Nothing serious. I lost another one of my 9 lives. Oh, this hurts.
Got many left?
I'm in the red. You hasn't woken up yet?
Nope. We're gonna be here a while.
Actually, I need to
Full
look
pine.
around first.
7 letters.
Cunning.
Cunning?
C-U-N-N-I-N-G. It fits. I hope it doesn't throw anything off.
Like a cigarette. Oh, yeah. Here we go again with Blacksad's foot fetish. He can identify what size a shoe is from across the room. This one's so annoying. Come on.
Yep. Looks like you were right with cunning. What are you looking for?
He knows his boyfriend. He's
live?
looking for
He'll
clues
live.
without
So
even
what have you
having to
found
look
out?
at him.
Randall Lee. Apparently in love with our penitentiary system, judging by the frequency of his visits. Theft, assault, extortion. You know, minor things of the sort.
Any partners?
Always works alone. He's never ratted out his employers, provided they exist. Did you find anything? Is this our man? Do you have proof?
Looks like we know who tore his pants following Clarice Freeman up to the rooftop. His pants have a tear in them. I found a piece of that same fabric at the gym, on the stairs that lead to the rooftop where we found the second body.
Makes sense, but how many pairs of ripped pants are walking around New York City? I don't call that evidence.
Back into the mine palace. It makes me put these in order, so I have to do the sardine first.
The guy who broke into the gym
he's hard to
Dunn's place
impress.
has a thing for sardines. Did you smell his breath?
Right, because there's only one sardine fanatic on this side of the Hudson. I need something more.
I saw footprints from those very same shoes next to both the gym murders.
Unless you're telling me that shoe is a limited edition, I'm gonna need something else.
Back into the Mind Palace.
One of the thugs that attacked me the other night had a snout just like his.
I'm sorry, but you can't incriminate someone based solely on species. What else you got?
What more do you need? I've given you 4 pieces of evidence.
None of which are conclusive.
He tried to throw me off the rooftop.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. He's our man.
No, he's not our man.
Make up your mind.
He's just a puppet. Someone is pulling his strings.
Could it be Yale?
He's hiding something for sure, but I don't think he did it. By the way, was he discharged? His room is empty.
They let him out yesterday. He's in police custody now. You can tell he's an athlete. Made quite the comeback. Anyone else would have taken 10 times as long.
Almost like
Anyway,
he was on some
he better be
magical
fine.
medication.
You know they ordered me to escort him to Madison Square Garden on the day of the fight.
Yeah, I heard something of the sort.
What have you heard?
Frank Cassidy. He's friends with the governor.
You don't say.
The rich are
Guess I
friends
shouldn't
with
be
each other.
surprised. Quick, what do you want? Good cop or bad cop?
Yep. Honestly, Smirnoff, in my opinion, Smirnoff makes a terrible bad cop. He doesn't really sound convincing as a bad cop. Although, granted, Blacksad sounds
Good
a bit
morning, Mr.
over
Lee.
the top.
I assume you're aware that you're
to
about
take
to be accused
seriously.
of murder, and that thanks to the witness testimonies of Mr. Blacksad and Miss Dunn, your future's not looking too good.
Go to hell, you dog. I swear that if I catch you outside, you'll wish you were in hell.
Blacksad, stay out of this. Remember who's the cop here. Maybe we can offer you a deal. We know someone hired you to kill Joe Dunn and Clarice Freeman. What do you have to say?
I'll call your bluff. You ain't got nothing.
Your friend the Hellhorse doesn't seem to feel that way. Although I'm afraid he won't be talking anymore.
Shut up, or I'll kick you out. If you tell us who hired you, we'll help you.
What can you offer me?
How much is your life worth to you?
Don't pay attention to him, Mr. Lee. We aren't vigilantes. But we can significantly reduce your sentence.
That's a start, but it's not good enough. I want in on the witness protection program. New city, new job, new identity.
He only plays a
and a
bad
clean
cop
police
in Death.
record. That's the only way I'll talk. Meanwhile, I want police protection 24/7. I'm afraid that...
Whoa!
Watch out!
Baby.
Luckily, Smirnov's wound wasn't as bad as Randall's. Unfortunately, the police found nothing on the nearby rooftops. Our best shot at finding the killer was gone, so I went back to my previous lead.
So, I guess maybe the cigarette is supposed to be get lit. Because the first time it never lit, and it looks like, the first time I played it, it looks like he was struggling to get the lighter on, and he was sad, but the cigarette would always ignite.
It's from before my mother got sick and we moved here. I loved reading stories about pirates, so my father drew a treasure map for me. I searched the whole house, one clue at a time. It led me to this enormous tree in the yard where Daddy had put up a tire swing.
Yeah. So my first playthrough on the PS4, like, you could probably look for it. It looked like he couldn't get it lit. So he looks disappointed too. So combined with that, I thought that like the cigarette wasn't supposed to light and he couldn't get it lit. Because if you recall, like maybe he never got his lighter fluid refill. So I thought that's what it was supposed to be, like, oh, and they're sad because let's add insult to injury and just like, oh no, he can't get his cigarette lit and get his dose of nicotine. But I guess not, but even then it looks awkward because it just kind of is lit, or the lighter is like lit. So I thought that was the intention. So I'm like, wait a minute, the cigarette lit. So why is he sad? And just of course it's the fact that they look defeated. That's why I thought it was supposed to not get lit. So maybe the intention is that he does get it lit. Because I also thought, like, why don't you use the little trick that Helen Moore taught you? That would have been like a nice callback to that. But no, I guess it's just another technical glitch. Like, one of many in this game. And also, here's like the weird logic. First off, how do you know that painting, he was in the middle of moving, so how do you know that painting was actually there originally? I mean, it's good speculation, but what if it wasn't? What if it got moved later? And second, that's like a weird thing to think about. It's like, I think I'll hide it. You know, I think I'll hide this evidence somewhere that, like, only I would know, but make it to where it's symbolically important to me. Like, I think regardless of where you hid it under the floorboards, it would be, you would know where it is. You would need to have, like, some sort of marker clue or something. Unless you were expecting to, like, get off.
Bing bang!
Oh,
Hello,
Daddy.
Smirnoff residence.
You're dead! No, I got you with my lasso!
Can you quiet down, kids?
Dunn got killed for stirring the hornet's nest.
And you confessed your crime!
Kids, please.
He'd been investigating athletes for months, including Helen Moore and Al Stone, among others. Dunn's notes aren't all that clear, and I'm not sure what he was after. But I'd say we're facing a widespread corruption case.
Well, if you're right, I could be some
Conspiracy.
Bring it here ASAP.
Sure, but there's something important that I need to finish first. wanted to follow a certain lead on my own before Smirnov had the chance to see anything.
It's the 1950s and everyone smokes like a chimney.
Dunn had seen Craig Spano at Sam's Diner just 4 days before his death.
Scram, you son of a bitch!
How is Mary?
Playing the sad little victim at home. And here I am, up to my neck! What the hell do you care, anyway? Beat it!
It might have been easier to slap the information out of him, but I decided to trust in a universal truth. Everyone is guilty of something. You don't know who I am, right?
Don't know and don't care! Come on, spit it out!
I'm John H. Blackmore, Public Health Inspector.
Oh, yeah, right. There are some real freaks around here, so I have to be firm, you know? Have you eaten?
Sounds legit.
Dinner's on the house.
After you answer my questions.
Sure, go ahead. Your call. Always at your disposal, Inspector. Ask away.
Doesn't find it suspicious that he
and made him talk.
And that as an inspector he'd come this
sure
late?
Enough, Dunn had been there a few days back with a chimpanzee who matched Spano's description. Apparently, the guy still lived with his father. Dunn said he couldn't stay there a day more. For the time being, he would move into his place.
Wait a minute. What does public health services have to do with that chimp?
Absolutely nothing. But you were easy to fool.
I still don't know why that decision marker shows up, because it always says that you leave him speechless.
Dunn had taken Spano to his place. I wanted to believe that when Randall Lee broke into the apartment, Spano fled to his former address. But where could that be? I gotcha. If the living have rich and poor neighborhoods, so do the dead.
Trespassing after hours.
In the mid-19th century, Greenwood became the resting place to the city's most distinct citizens. Thinkers, scientists, writers, inventors, artists, businessmen, politicians, police officers, thieves,
I
pimps,
don't know
and
how
more.
his trench coat didn't get caught on those spikes.
Here lie the bodies of the soulless minds that raised New York from the ground up. Now you know where to go to become somebody in the Big Apple. Mitchell, who fought with Dunn during the war, tried to pass as Yale's doctor. O'Leary wouldn't have sent Randall to kill Dunn. He would have dragged him to his basement, given him his little speech, and then killed him himself.
The scene. I always think it's weird too. Something that I think is so contrived too with these like mystery games. It's just the fact that you talk to people who know exactly like who the true mastermind is, and they just never, for whatever contrived reason, they just don't ever tell the person who's investigating. It would just make their investigation so much easier if they cooperated. They'll cooperate up to like a certain extent too, so it's not like they're completely uncooperative, because they'll at least like answer some questions, but they don't tell them the truth. They've always withheld the truth for like usually pretty stupid and petty reasons. Granted, internally for their logic it makes sense, but
according to the book,
it just always kind of feels contrived as a story.
Baseballs in Bradwick's tomb to pay their respects.
It's always like the problem I have with like when my mom used to watch like CSI. It's like they'll always interrogate someone. They give them like everything, like they'll answer their questions just fine, and then they'll later come back with like some evidence like, ooh, this person knew more than they said. And then they'll question, they're like, yeah, I knew more, and here's blah blah blah, and it's like so contrived as to like, why the hell is everyone always lying?
Still hot.
Chinese.
I'm investigating a case of sports corruption. I think a considerable amount of athletes are involved, both current celebrities and former stars. Joe Dunn met with someone at the diner, close to his gym. Then he took that person to his house, so that he didn't have to live at the cemetery. I would have never guessed the person's identity. I found a baseball glove at Joe Dunn's place. A glove signed by a great star. I couldn't believe my luck.
Cigarette.
Marley's. Are the absolute worst.
Yeah, it's funny because like if you saw the foreshadowing, his old billboard where he's shilling for Morley's, and the fact that he gets offered cigarette, you can immediately identify that it's a Morley's, and and he hates that brand of cigarettes because they're terrible. Does that mean that Blacksad has a bad taste in cigarettes?
I'm John Blacksad, private investigator.
How's Joe?
One question at a time. It's my turn.
Your turn.
Why did you meet with Joe Dunn?
Because he was looking for me. He came here one morning, but I was too embarrassed to come down. Because he left a baseball with his initials on by the tombstone. Sam's Diner, tomorrow, 12:30 a.m. Because...
Alright, so is that place open 24/7?
Kill me.
What did he want from you? And who wants to kill you?
One question at a time.
When the hell does, like, Sam actually get any sleep?
How's Joe?
What would happen if I told him the truth? Would he lose it? Could I take that chance? Joe Dunn is dead. Murdered.
I told you, Joe. How did it happen?
A hitman. But he's dead now. Although whoever hired him still hasn't been punished. My turn. What did Dunn want from you?
He wanted to know who was playing dirty in the sporting business. Dirtier than usual, that is. Wrecked lives, careers, ruined at the top of the game. He wanted to know if the same had happened to me. He wanted to know if the end of my career and my disappearance had anything to do with all that. He wanted me to confirm who was behind it all. The guy who had him killed. Our old friend, the surgeon.
Is Mitchell the surgeon? Is he the person behind all of this? That surgeon you mentioned, is he...
My turn. I want to know why I should trust you.
Do it for Joe Dunn, our common friend. It's my turn. That surgeon that you mentioned, is he in this photo I got here? Ow! Hey!
See, he could have nailed it. He could have ended this a lot sooner had he cooperated instead of run off like that.
Hey, that toss was... Both my ear and my self-esteem would hurt for days. But at least I had a new lead to follow, the surgeon. The bastard had avoided my scrutiny by passing as a hospital doctor, but now all of my senses were on guard. No matter how good the disguise or how well he hid, I would find him.
Police theme. Got a dark room alone with Weekly.
So, what you're saying is, 1, there's a corruption scandal involving all kinds of athletes. 2, our puppet master is a surgeon named Mitchell, a man who happened to fight in the war with Dunn, right?
Maybe, but it could be no more than a false lead.
Anyway, where was I? Number 3, right? 3, since Dunn was on his trail, Mitchell, or whomever, hired an anteater to get rid of him. Then, since you were also shaking the wasp's nest, he went after you. But the anteater made a mistake, and Mitchell, or whomever, killed him to cover his own tracks. And, wait, 4, the key to all this lies with a common friend of Dunn's and Mitchell's, Craig Spenow. Do you really trust him?
You should know that I don't trust anyone.
Except for your friend Weekly, that is. 4. No, I mean 5.
Presumptuous.
Dunn was murdered 5,
little weasel.
I mean 4 days after taking Speno to his house. If that doesn't make him suspect, makes sense, doesn't it?
Nah, it doesn't add up.
Why not?
Just a hunch.
Let's follow up with the suspects. You told Smirnoff that even though you're sure Yale is innocent, you think he's hiding something. But what about O'Leary? 6.
Nah, I know O'Leary, and he wouldn't have sent a hitman. He would have taken matters into his own hands.
What about Cassidy? 7, right?
I think it's safe to rule out Cassidy as Dunn's murderer. He seems too impulsive to have planned such a twisted crime. Whoever planned the whole thing knew the suicide theory would fall through, so he manipulated the clues to incriminate Yale. Cassidy is too impulsive to pull off such an intricate plan.
So, even if you have your doubts, Mitchell is the one pulling the strings. And you know why? Because in novels, the murderer is always someone the detective knows from the beginning.
Well,
but he doesn't.
He
didn't know any of those people from the beginning.
Where everyone in the mansion where the murder took place is a suspect.
So there goes your faulty logic there, Weekly.
This might just be an American whodunit, where the detective
now
doesn't
we get
even
the
meet the culprit until the last scene.
You mean we still don't know who's pulling the strings?
I didn't say that. How did it go with Helen Moore?
I didn't get anything, even though it started out really well. I asked to interview her along with her boyfriend, Al Stone. Since I'm a big shot, they were happy to oblige.
Is Weekly a big shot, or
Perfect.
is he just making that up?
Now, time for the interview. I'll go back and forth so you don't get bored. So, who goes first? Here's one for Helen. Dating a boxer can be dangerous. Aren't you afraid that those blows to the head will take a toll on his intellectual capacity?
Honey, take a look at my man and then look at yourself. You really think I'm with him because of his intellectual capacity?
Helen!
Write this down. Nothing will change my man. His smarts, manliness, and integrity are all boxing proof.
Okay, now... time for a picture.
How should we pose?
Okay, how about a hug? I want to feel the love. You're the envy of all America. Moving on. Here's a question for Al. Are you ever jealous about sharing your sweetheart with America?
Yeah,
Nonsense. America has my
honestly,
smile, my figure, and
Al
my
Stone is
patriotic
cute.
love.
I also like
Everything
his
else,
accent,
and I
too.
mean everything, belongs to Al. Right, baby?
yeah, that's right.
Now what? Mind if I take another one?
You want us to do something in particular?
Show me your weapons. The fist against the racket.
Like this. This is kind of dumb.
That's it. Perfect. Okay, one more question. And...
Al, honey, can you answer it? I've got to go say hi to a fan. I'll be right back, Mr. Pulitzer.
The dip in the frame rate right there.
You mean she stopped smiling when that fan showed up?
Yeah.
Could you describe him for me?
I'll be able to show you something as soon as I'm done developing these pictures. And actually, I thought it was odd too. So while I continued to interview Stone, I managed to take some pictures of
falling
Moore
apart too.
And whoever her mysterious fan was. All right, so where were we? In just 12
I like
days,
getting some
the
insights
contender
too.
will try to steal your belt. Any thoughts on your fight against Yale?
Well, supposedly the odds are in my favor, but there's no such thing as a weak rival. And, you know, Bobby Yale might be young and going through a rough patch, but he's had an amazing streak, so I'll do my best.
Let's get that picture taken.
What's that bicep?
Turn around and show me those biceps from behind.
Like that?
That's it.
Can't focus on his butt.
Wait, I accidentally moved. Stand still. I'll take another one.
I'm so glad they changed that
What's
prompt.
with me
That prompt
today?
was kind of
Don't
hard
move, please.
before.
Now
Gotta
we
get
got
his
it.
butt in the frame
Should we keep
too.
at it? Your manager is Frank Cassidy, president of the Boxing Managers Association of New York. According to him, only boxers working with member managers should be allowed to compete. What do you think about that?
Fix this.
Cassidy is a great
Let's see the
manager, really.
subtitles.
No complaints there. And the work he's putting in as president of the association is really valuable. But, I don't know, maybe in this case, Joe Dunn was right. Wait, no. Could you keep that last comment off the record?
No, they haven't
on the
fixed the
download.
subtitles
My
yet.
lips are sealed.
It's still showing us like I'm such an asshole. I think they were actually trying to avoid like using swear words.
I'm going to take one more, all right?
Which I admire.
Okay, now raise your head and your arms up like you were celebrating a victory.
Like these?
Exactly.
Let's go look at that chest. Yeah. Can't focus on what's going down there, but it looks pretty big from when it is focused. Yeah, just his chest. Oh look, he's a good Catholic boy. Yeah. No, must keep his chest in. There we go.
What's up with me? Stand still. I'll take it again. I can't seem to get it right. Don't move. It's about time. Finally, we're all set.
Wait. So, are you telling me the photos are developed? Or is that what you said to Stone?
Both. Just look.
Who's that guy?
I know he's not a fan. You should have seen her face when she saw him. How much do you think each bicep weighs?
A lot, but less than your tongue.
You're hilarious.
Look at his hands. Is he pulling something out of Moore's purse or putting it in? Look at his hands. Is he pulling something out of Moore's purse or putting it in? That's a decent picture, but it doesn't tell the truth.
Huh? Of course it's the truth. I was there.
Stone isn't as strong as he looks, and Moore certainly doesn't need him to lift her up.
Symbolism.
How the hell did you make them pose like that? They're lovers, not sworn enemies.
I don't know. I was focused on my detective skills. Can't you just see the love?
I'm not so sure, to be honest. Love is not subservience.
You know, I
feel
thought he'd
bad
be
for
cocky,
Healthstone.
but
I'm not
he
sure
didn't
if they
seem
remained
too
couple
convinced about
after.
beating Yale.
It makes sense. O'Leary's rigged the fight. Stone has to lose. I think she only smokes when she's nervous. What was making her nervous?
He does look. This lizard looks cute.
That's
in that
him.
little hat.
Who? Mitchell, the surgeon.
Seriously? We got him.
Not yet. I've seen that matchbox before.
Focus, Blacksad. We need to figure out how to find that Mitchell guy. Hey, pal. Did you hear what I just said? We need to keep looking at all those pictures. We need a clue that'll take us to Mitchell. Hey, see? There. Just like I was saying.
Angry face. Close. Close to the end.
Brawls aren't even the worst part of my job. Sure, you may take a beating, but at least you get the chance to defend yourself. But when you're sitting in your car all night, there's no way out. Your legs cramp up, your back and neck feel stiff. Your entire body aches to be somewhere else. It's boring and repetitive.
Some coffee. Here, if I get coffee. Sure.
People were finally leaving the place.
It's so much easier to breathe than this. I wear a breathe strip. A breathe right
I
strip.
hadn't seen Mitchell go in or out. I had no choice.
Another sexy lizard.
I
love
you
his
took me
frame
up on
too.
my
Look at that
invitation.
guy.
And you're smart. You knew not to come until my anti-fur regulars had all cleared out.
I can't say no to good advice.
Or good bourbon. Here's looking at you, Mr. What was your name?
As far as I knew, La Iguana always stayed neutral. He played poker with Cassidy, but his joint was used as the gambling drop-off for O'Leary's operation. Did it make sense to keep faking it? Or was it too dangerous not to?
Doesn't matter.
Blackmore. John H. Blackmore.
Being honest with him.
I knew it. Although your Texan isn't half bad.
Let's just say I represent certain sports lobbies I'd rather not talk about.
I understand. My pleasure, Mr. Blackmore. You're natural. You're even better.
So he looks sexy like that without his tie and
no one can
with his sleeves rolled up and his shirt hanging untucked like that.
Decided to teach that ego a lesson.
What do you want me to say? Between you and me, it's not the first time I find myself in this situation. Who doesn't have their own barber with a license to kill? Damn it.
Well, nobody's perfect. Tell me, what do you really want with Cassidy? I just don't understand your motives.
The truth is, I represent certain interests which make Desmond O'Leary my enemy. If you know anything about their rivalry, I rest my case.
Don't worry about it. I was only curious. So, what about me? What do you want from me?
Holding that really suggestively.
No one comes to La Iguana just to drink and play pool.
I'm looking for one of your regulars, Dr. Angus Mitchell.
What for?
I don't want to be rude, but it's really none of your business.
I don't have time to explain how things work here at La Iguana, but I'll be blunt. Not this way.
You don't understand. I have to talk to him, or else.
Or else what?
I don't think Cassidy would be too happy about the role his poker buddy plays in O'Leary's gambling operation. I'm sure you understand that.
Son of a bitch. All right. Give me your phone number, and I'll give you a call when Mitchell shows up.
No. You're gonna call him right now, and you're gonna give him this message. But when you're sitting in your car all night, there's no way out. Your legs cramp up.
Pretty risky.
Your back and neck feel stiff. Your entire body aches to be somewhere else. It's boring and repetitive. It's so bad that your thoughts spiral in a never-ending loop. Like when you're stuck in your car, on surveillance duty. The owner of La Iguana was supposed to tell Mitchell that a certain anteater was still alive, and that it was only a matter of time before he ratted him out.
He survived a sniper rifle to the head.
Now all I had to do was follow him.
He realized he's not being tailed, considering it's like nighttime and there's no traffic. He's got no ass, but he's got a cute little gut. I like his suspenders too. And that little hat. What are those hats called? I'm gonna call them popper hats. Popper caps? Okay, no. Polar caps. Nope. Huh.
He went in without it. I wonder what's in it.
We'll be just fine, don't worry. Gil, stand guard right here. If the cat shows up, you know what to do. I'll be back in an hour.
Taken by surprise from over there, although I don't know how I'd get there.
You could also just break in through the window, maybe? Although, I guess you do want to take him out. You don't want a guy with the gun running around.
Of course, he's Randall Lee's partner. I should be careful. When they gave me a beating, I could see he was kinda trigger happy.
This is like the annoying part, it's just like walking around. Granted, you usually have those stupid cards to look around for. But even then, it's just so tedious. Like, Blacksad has like no running animation. Just takes a sweet, sweet time. Oh, he didn't sink into the forklift like he usually does. He becomes like a transformer cat. But, and I doubt that's an electric forklift, so I'm not sure how he didn't hear that. Even in this rain and thunder. They're quite distinct. That's supposed to be the Brooklyn Bridge, too. I just kind of noticed in the back. I know nothing about New York. As a filthy, filthy Westerner. West Coaster. Hey, good morning, Zozo. How you doing? Are you at work?
What does this place have to hide?
Because I know none of it gives me any clues. But we are going to call our friends.
Who would I call?
Give Weekly that big scoop that he's been looking for. I wonder what Weekly would look like in a little yellow jumpsuit. Dress him up like April O'Neil.
Pier 36. The 6th sea-facing warehouse coming in from Montgomery.
John? Is that you?
Meet me in an hour.
What's going on?
Bring your camera. I just gave you the scoop of your life. Pier 36. Meet me in an hour.
Blacksad.
If you're coming from Montgomery, it's the 6th sea-facing warehouse.
What's going on?
And bring the cavalry.
Granted, I'm not sure if Smirnoff is still in the office, but I would assume that he's at home. So here's another problem with the racial stereotyping of this. Let's overlook the fact that that Gil is a red horse and supposed to be Native American. So look at all of this Native American memorabilia.
It could be an Ojibwa totem.
No, memorabilia.
In which case, this the top animal.
I don't know. What would you call it? Native American cultural iconography. But so you got a tomahawk, you got a dream catcher, you got a totem pole, you got some sage, I guess. You got this weird. I'm not entirely sure what that is. It looks like a xylophone almost. And then you got like this woven pattern thing. So I'm pretty sure that he comes from the same tribe as Chakotay from Star Trek Voyager, in which he doesn't come from any specific tribe at all. He's just a amalgamation of like every single like Native American tribe and trope out there. Because I do recall looking this up. It's like the same culture that the dream catchers come from did not do totem poles, and I'm pretty sure that the pattern is a southwestern Native American thing. I could be wrong. I don't know how. I'm not quite sure how I would identify this pattern, but I'm pretty sure I've seen this out here before. So, and of course you got a tomahawk. At least I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a tomahawk. So, Gil is like all the Native Americans. All the Native American tribes. It's so stereotypical.
If I'm not mistaken, these are incense sticks, used in cleansing rituals.
Dream catcher.
A dream catcher. It's supposed to protect children during the night, trapping all evil in its spider web.
Also, from my understanding, those things aren't meant to be really taken seriously either. From, like, the Native Americans' perspective, that's supposed to be, like, a thing for children. It's like, oh, this will catch your nightmare so you're not afraid to go to sleep kind of deal. I could be wrong. That could just be, like, urban legend or something. It makes me wonder if it's like someone in our culture will like look back once our culture is like nearly extinct. It's like, oh yeah, I don't know, this rattle right here. This is like a ceremonial, like a ritualistic, like musical instrument, and not like just a little babble for children for infants to keep them entertained. Alright, deduction.
Don't you even think of screaming.
I might not even talk.
It looks like an arrowhead. Everything seems to prove that Gil is a Native American, and I'm almost sure that the woman in the picture is his mother.
I like this too. He does insult he does make a gay insult towards Blacksad. It's not like the first time he gets like insulted in this game through his masculinity. Like Helen Moore does it too, so I wonder if like everyone thinks like Blacksad is one of those fancy like flamboyant men.
Where did Mitchell go?
Mitchell? What Mitchell?
What's Mitchell up to?
Damn, are you in love with this guy or
yep.
what?
You know who'll always believe in you? Your mother. My mother never lost her faith in me. And I gave her plenty of reasons when I was a kid.
I don't know if that's true or not.
With something as stupid as keeping the change when she sent me for groceries. Then I started stealing fruit from the street stands. And finally, I turned to pickpocketing. Somehow, my mother managed to keep me in school until I got into college. But I never gave her reasons to believe in me then either.
So, here we go. Okay, trying to get like political again and bring up racial issues. So, if Blacksad's supposed to be African American, and he was a juvenile delinquent, he was stealing fruit and pickpocketing. Could that have possibly been due to necessity because they were poor? I know nothing about his backstory, whether he comes from a at least like a middle class family, or does he come from a poor family? I don't know. But if he's supposed to be a Black American, I'm leaning towards he probably did that out of necessity. And the fact that it's sort of framed as like, ooh, how disappointing and bad. It's like, oh no, Blacksad has bought into capitalism in society. It's like, no, you shouldn't steal property laws and stuff. That's just wrong, especially if if you're doing it out of necessity. That's even worse. He kept bad company, I guess. I don't know.
I made new friends. The type of friends that convince you to do things that wouldn't make a mother proud. Then Pearl Harbor happened. I got drafted and sent to Europe.
He did pup play, the ultimate betrayal of cat kind. I don't know. I don't know. So, what kind of soldier would Blacksad be? I don't think he'd be cowardly. Unruly, maybe. I don't know. Ruthless? I don't know if he's making all of this
killing
up.
was my moral duty, but I discovered it could be addictive. Not all victims were Nazis. But when I got back, I was treated like a pariah, a veteran outcast who never should have come back in the first place. And yet, my mother never ceased to...
And here we go into more cultural, some more cultural, racial issues.
I also fought in the war. That's where I met Mitchell. They used me, like many of my people. And then they just tossed us aside.
And then, of course, there's the arrowhead, too. I forgot about that. I really don't know how I would identify that. If all,
I told him to take a hike. I wanted to get my act together.
If all Native American First People
I don't like Mitchell. I don't like the
arrowheads as some sort of like iconography or just some sort of decorative thing.
I don't like that German rat either. But what I like least of all is myself. I don't like what I did during the war.
Also, they fixed it.
I don't like what I'm doing now.
His bouncy cartoon.
Do you know what it's like to kill a friend for the sake of the mission? Huh? But my mother, She always thought I'd make amends and start anew.
So... the fact that he said they used me like they used my people... Yes, again, the military uses minorities as disposable soldiers.
It's number 3.
It's historically accurate. But it also makes me wonder, so is he supposed to be Navajo? Because the Navajo were definitely a key factor as to why they, why we won the war with using their language as a as code. The wind talkers or wind speakers. And of course, it also wouldn't surprise me if they were all used as, irregardless of which tribe the Native Americans came from. They were probably used for soldiers. Again, disposable soldiers. I honestly can't. No. I keep calling it Native Americans because this game called them Native Americans. First peoples. They're the first people. Turn off the recording. No, I didn't. And of course, it's not like the Spano followed me to hell. He's addicted to the drugs, man. Are steroids actually addictive? They don't call them steroids here either, but I'm pretty sure the thing, because this is like a newly invented drug, is supposed to be steroids. So a lot of like Operation Paperclip implications, and if I looked it up, if I did my research correctly, human steroids were discovered by German scientists. Or addictive. I get like a help hotline. Okay, they can leak damage. Are generally not considered intoxicant. But animal studies show that chronic steroid use alters the same dopamine reward path. So I don't think they're addictive in the same way, it looks like. It seems more like it's an addiction towards like the effects of it, which give you the dopamine rush that you're looking for. Just from like that brief first article, so they're not exactly addictive in terms of they give you direct dopamine, but it's more like the working out factor and getting stronger and stuff makes you addicted to them. The rewards, I guess the outcomes of using them is the thing that makes you addicted to them. Okay, so let's go in here first. Get this sequence out of the way.
It's all right. Don't be afraid, little girl. I'm a friend, okay?
Vita, no hurt.
Put on a puppet show for her. Conveniently, puppets with our likeness to them.
Once upon a time...
Since we're playing Mass Effect, let's go space.
Once upon a time, there was a space heroine called...
Brunhilde.
Hi, my name is Brunhilde, and I'm very happy,
said Brunhilde. And then Brunhilde, who had a beautiful name...
Really beautiful.
A really beautiful name, ran into someone very special.
Oh, who was it?
Space cat.
A space cat called John.
I'm a space cat. My
I think it... Okay, that's a technical glitch, I think.
John the cat. I really like space cats. I'm Brunhilde.
I don't think he's supposed to be wearing both the wizard and the sailor hat.
Bake some delicious pies. I love pies. Which is your favorite? Wow, that's a very hard question. But John the cat, it's the easiest question in the world. Let me show you how easy it is. My favorite pie is... pecan! Whoa, Brunhilde. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Blacksad likes some nuts in his pies.
John. Brunhilde. Freund.
Stupid sexy gas mask.
Do play. Each look.
I wonder if the implication too is the previous occupant of that gas mask was shot in the
Hi,
head.
Bird. Why are you wearing
through
that
the
mask?
eye hole.
Gas.
Well, maybe we should get out of here. What do you think, Bird? And what about you, Brunhilde? Don't you think that?
Okay, more technical glitches. I swear, each patch makes this game have more technical glitches. Act like a good dad. Uh-oh. Blacksad of daddy confirmed. At least they fixed the part where her eyes would stay open so it looked like she died. Instead of just collapse from exhaustion.
A list of names, somehow related to chemical agents?
Rare chemical compounds. How would you know that, Blacksad? Are you up to date on your chemical compounds and their rarities? Boss. Conveniently, it just says boss on it. Dick. R. Rand. That looks like Dick around. Alexander. But
Subject, Brunhilde Gruner. Treatment, day 1500. The patient's ability
honestly, like, Operation Paperclip and shit as being part of, like, a plot. I know Operation Paperclip, like, is a real thing that happened. But I get tired of it, like, being used in stories as, like, a trope. Like, oh no, it was super secret Nazi research.
And yet, perhaps due to
granted, this is a bit more legit, in a way. Also, they fixed the visual issue where it just kind of cuts to him, like, rambling on, like, the next day without that little cut of black, which made it look awkward.
Perhaps this is the best finding so far.
It's like, oh crap, I forgot to make my notes for the other previous days, so I'll just ramble it on all same.
We are on the right track. All hope is not lost.
Foreshadowing.
Subject, Craig Spano. Treatment, day 0. This subject is a veteran baseball player who has lost speed, strength, and agility due to the regular aging process. The patient refers intense pain on the right scapula, most likely caused by an old injury. The goals of our medical approach are twofold. To relieve pain caused by the prior injury so that the subject can play without symptoms, and to help the patient regain the physical condition lost in the aging process, thus allowing him to perform at elite levels. Treatment. Day 120. The patient no longer feels pain when using his right arm, circumstance that allows him to pitch without fear. So far, the only side effect seems to be a slight euphoria experienced 3 hours after dosage, which subsides 4 hours later, taking the patient on an emotional roller coaster of sorts with bouts of mild trembling.
So yep, these are steroids.
Treatment. Day 341.
Just a year later.
Moments of euphoria and boosted physical performance have become increasingly short, while the ensuing periods of depression and weakness have become longer, including severe tremor. Although we have met all therapeutic goals, we will proceed to terminate the treatment in order to avoid causing irreparable physical and mental damage to the patient.
They stopped the drugs because they weren't working and they didn't want to hurt him. I think we're going to do a couple more abductions.
What if it was Gil who killed his partner, Randall Lee, under Mitchell's orders? Mitchell is cashing in by selling drugs to enhance athletes' performances. The worst part of Mitchell's scheme isn't that it's illegal or unethical. It's that he didn't even care about compromising the athlete's health.
Maybe he didn't, but the doctor sure did.
Gil? You know you're not allowed down here. You know you're not.
I feel like replaying that part again. I think it autosaved either when I went into there or left. Sorry for the working on packing stuff. Oh, no problem. I hope packing is going well. I know the circumstances around needing the pack suck, though. Especially with the fact that you have to get rid of stuff. Really?
Hey, it's all right. Don't be afraid, little girl.
It's Thais cricket. It's Brenton, Bill Goldman, Julia Spaulding.
A list of names, somehow related to chemical agents?
Subject, Brunhilde Gruner. Treatment, day 1500. The patient's ability to speak continues to diminish. Now she can only pronounce the occasional word in German. Tissue degeneration persists.
Skip some of this, but you can't.
Can't skip it. Perhaps due to drastic reduction of benzylprodine dosage and an increase of ibuprofen, we have observed a 3% of deceleration of said degeneration. Furthermore, and perhaps This is the best finding so far. The subject exhibits a mild recovery of her speaking. It's not a lot, and yet we are on the right track. All hope is not lost.
Fatherhood also seems to be like a big theme with this game as well.
Subject, Craig Spano. Treatment, day 0. The subject is a veteran baseball player who has lost speed, strength, and agility due to the regular aging process. The patient refers intense pain on the right scapula, most likely caused by an old injury. The goals of our medical approach are twofold. To relieve pain caused by the prior injury so that the subject can play without symptoms, and to help the patient regain the physical condition lost in the aging process, thus allowing him to perform at elite levels. Treatment. Day 120, the patient no longer feels pain when using his right arm, circumstance that allows him to pitch without fear. So far, the only side effect seems to be a slight euphoria experienced 3 hours after dosage, which subsides 4 hours later, taking the patient on an emotional roller coaster of sorts with bouts of mild trembling. Treatment. Day 341. Moments of euphoria and boosted physical performance have become increasingly short, while the ensuing periods of depression and weakness have become longer, including severe.
I guess it could be worse. He could have become addicted to opiates.
We will proceed to terminate
Also, like trying to keep my back on this heater.
Causing irreparable
Ease
physical
some back
and
pain.
mental damage to the patient.
One more time.
What if it was Gil who killed his partner, Randall Lee, under Mitchell's orders?
Should be making sure I did that.
Mitchell is cashing in by selling
So,
drugs
like, make
to
sure that I
enhance
use up
athletes'
all the clues
performances.
properly. Do you want to come in? Go.
The worst part of Mitchell's scheme isn't that it's illegal or unethical, it's that he didn't even care about compromising the athlete's health.
Gil? You know you're not allowed down here. You know you're not allowed. You bastard! I swear you bring your friend in there. Come on. I don't know.
You don't know? I know you're just doing drugs on that girl.
Brunhilde? No, she's my daughter.
Sounds like she wants to come out.
She was born with a degenerative disease.
I think it's stuck on the echo
similar
stuck.
to the Angelman syndrome. There are only 4 known cases like hers, and none of the patients reach the age of
Similar
5.
disease, but not quite the same. I'm not sure why it would be a unique disease.
I continued to research and found something. It didn't make her better, but anyway, that safe treatment used on healthy subjects seems to improve their stamina and their reflexes. It also seems to improve their pain threshold. Somehow, the Reich heard about my experiments and tried to recruit me to create super
Hitler was a
soldiers.
cat in this game.
Yes.
Cat Hitler.
That Reich. We're talking late 30s Berlin. I escaped with Brunhilde and came to your country, but the American military also heard about me.
Thus, Operation Paperclip was a good
I
one.
spent the entire war experimenting with drugs on soldiers. Some were highly effective, I must say. When the war was over, my experiments were discarded. I was forbidden all access to the drugs, and Brunhilde got worse.
That's the government.
But then,
That's the U.S. government for you. Just,
we had met
nope.
during the war, and he
Easier for
came
your
to
research,
offer
but
me
you got
a
no
deal.
health benefits whatsoever.
I would make drugs for athletes, and he would sell them.
Which seems dumb. It's like, why would you continue, why wouldn't you use this research?
What else do you want me to say?
Also, I don't know. I feel like this plot falls apart because, like, what exactly is stopping you from, like, patenting these drugs and selling them to a pharmaceutical company for mass production? I think that would solve all your problems. Drug companies are greedy, and they'd eat the shit out of that.
What are the long-term effects of those drugs?
It depends on the patient.
Well, not all drug
but
companies.
They all develop an addiction, even Brunhilde.
Guess I can't really say much about like the whole like COVID vaccine thing going on, but I'm sure they're getting paid in, you know, behind the scenes.
Others lose their ability to focus, and some, slowly but surely, lose it all.
About those pills.
Is there one bottle missing?
There was a bottle there before. What is he looking at?
Crack's line 40 already. Shit. Oh. Knockout.
Don't dwell on it, Josh.
I don't know how Blacksad's not dead from all the concussions that he's gotten through the course of this
I would
game.
have done the same thing. Finish packing up your things and stop torturing yourself, okay?
Thanks, Angus. I won't be long.
Oh, honey. You like living here? Yeah, me too. But we have to go somewhere else, and it's all that bad cat's fault. Yes, sweetie. We're going to a new home now. A prettier one, and you'll be happier there. Now go with Papa, honey. Give him a kiss. Go on. Give him a kiss. Go on.
assume that, like, Brunhilde's gotta be, like, in her 20s, like, her late 20s.
We gave it our best, didn't we?
Like, mid to late 20s. It's kind of sad.
I wish it hadn't come to this.
Angus, what's wrong?
It's like shit's about to go down. So I would think that room is designed to also keep the fire in. This sounds...
I hope that made you feel better. I like it when you smile.
That sounds like a, come on.
You're so far from the truth. What that?
Also, I would think that that room would, like, keep the fumes out? At least for a while. What? I pressed the button.
I hope you're happy to see the bitch. They were good people.
Get away with not hitting him in the face.
They didn't deserve this. You're so far from the truth. What that?
Bullet shooting from the hip. This quick time event has been really changed since, like, the original.
The mask would buy me a bit of extra time. The question was, how much? Spano?
So they reworked this thing to actually make sense to where how he actually sees the empty bottle instead of being it shown afterwards. Because I'm like, well, how did he know he took the bottle?
The mask was barely working. I needed fresh air.
See now he actually sees the bottle there. Actually makes it to where too Fano actually saves him. thought he said it was his right, not his left.
Greg's Shadow is back! Did you miss me?
Entirely sure also why he took the entire pill bottle. See that much of an addict? Just all of it. Probably what ends up killing him.
Now you're gonna see. Bring it on! Let's go!
Little heart exploded.
No.
That's a pretty good transition too.
Don't torture yourself. You did everything you could.
Will he make it?
The doctors think so. They found him unconscious by the basement door.
That's where they have like a closey kissy moment.
Could Gil have blocked the basement door from the outside to kill Mitchell?
You think? That's a serious accusation. Are you sure, or is this just a theory of yours?
It's just a theory.
It's just a theory.
Game theory.
Let's hope we get the truth out of him.
Huh. You think Gil was involved in the previous murders?
What if it was Gil who killed his partner, Randall Lee, under Mitchell's orders?
Another serious accusation. Are you sure?
You didn't move your lips.
No, I'm not sure yet. But it very well could be the case.
Probably because I solved it before.
Wait, couldn't Mitchell be Randall Lee's murderer?
So he misses with 2 shots at point-blank range, and then he hits a guy smack in the forehead from across the street? No. Mitchell is not the sniper who wiped out Randall Lee.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But we still don't know what caused Craig Spano's death.
Probably the entire bottle of drugs that he took.
There's no doubt about it. Spano took drugs from the lab, and they killed him.
But if that were true, how many more athletes are in danger? And most importantly, who are they? Is Bobby Yale involved?
I didn't see them all, but write down these names. Peter Lowe, Xavier Chains, Helen Moore, Bill Goldman, Miles Benton, Alexander Wood, Jacob Ziegler, and yes, Bobby Yale.
Thanks. Saving lives for a change, huh? In any case, thanks for the call. I was starting to think you'd never trust the police again.
I don't trust the cops. I trust you.
This is where they're supposed to lean in for a kiss and then
Thanks for the tip.
Weekly interrupts it.
This is gonna win me the Pulitzer.
Get that guy out of here.
Spoken like a true cop. Push the media around.
All right. Let's get this over with. When the war ended, Mitchell convinced Groom to use his super soldier drugs on elite athletes. Somehow, Dunn found out about Mitchell's scheme. So when Mitchell heard that Dunn was onto him, he ordered Randall Lee to kill him and frame Yale for the murder. Then, he made Randall search Dunn's house and the gym for any incriminating evidence he might have had against him. The poor cleaning lady died almost by chance. When you stuck your nose in the case, he tried to scare you by sending his thugs to give you a beating. And when that didn't work, he asked Randall Lee to finish you off on the gym rooftop. But Randall not only failed, he got captured. So Mitchell ordered Gil to put a bullet through his head, which only made Gil upset.
It's trying.
You kept getting closer and closer, to the point of discovering his headquarters. When Mitchell realized he was cornered, he burned his bridges by setting the lab on fire, along with Dr. Groom and his daughter. Gil saw the opportunity to get back at Mitchell, so he blocked the only exit so that he would also die in fire. Did I leave any loose ends?
Just a few. But don't worry about it. I'll take care of them now. So I guess thanks for everything.
Also be down here. That's enough. break out the water bottle and squirt him in the face.
In your classic noir films and novels, solving a case never amounts to a happy ending. The detective is always left with a sense of bitterness. A feeling that, before he took the case, the world was a better place.
Actually, probably. There's less people dead.
Come on. Now speed it out.
Sometimes I just let my character get the best of
me. Like how Stone will just show up for this random detective.
I told Stone what I knew. That he was going to let Yale win. That if he didn't, O'Leary would destroy Helen Moore's career. And that Moore was doomed either way. Or would be, as soon as America discovered her sweetheart was on drugs.
I don't believe you. No way. Who sent you?
Today? Nobody.
Just my conscience.
And what if I did believe you? What would that change? If I don't do this for her, how could I ever look her in the eyes? How could we stay together?
You think you'll stay together when you lose your title and they accuse her of doping?
At least I know I tried.
Doping. Apparently that's a...
Your
term
rise
already.
To the top is clean. Free of both O'Leary's and drugs. God. You might just be one of the only honest athletes I've met recently. Please don't let them change that.
Is it all about being professional to you?
Kiss him. That's how you prove you're not professional. Lean in and give him a big kiss on the nose.
Your manager is a murderer. Get as far away from him as possible.
Hey, Blacksad. I'll think about it.
Tight enough. Keep slipping.
Yale confirmed to me that Dunn found out that Mitchell was giving him meds.
I feel like he could tell us, unless
the evening of his death.
Unless Yale doesn't directly know that.
In fact, I was clean at the time. Hadn't used for days.
That Tim is involved.
I didn't want to go down that road. I wanted to follow Joe.
You can.
But he discovered everything.
He
but I
didn't
would assume
believe
that
me
he
when I
would have
said I
been the
had
one to
nothing
set
do
him
with
up
it.
with Mitchell.
But you used again.
Only after his death. I needed to cope.
I didn't know
drugs
that.
gave you a panic attack.
Yeah.
That
But I've been
steroids can be
clean ever
used to
since.
cope.
Mitchell gave you the pills when he stopped by the hospital. Hence, your miraculous recovery. Are you planning on taking them before the fight? Don't do it, Bobby.
Then to kiss him too.
Someone has to save the gym. I owe it to Joe. And Sonia. And my Aunt Mary.
Your father would never have done this.
What?
I told Yale everything I knew
Fucking
about
Bobby
his father's
Yale
death.
fucking
I
murdered
couldn't say how
too.
he took it.
He did kill O'Leary.
Just like I can't tie it to
An
the
eye for an
mysterious
eye, though.
drowning
That
of
doesn't make it
Desmond
right.
O'Leary, who appeared dead in the Hudson River next to Pier 27.
Which probably means that Jake was involved in that murder too, because that would make sense. How else would he get to him? Jake is his bodyguard. See, I originally thought that I had to like if I told the if I told him not to take drugs and I told him not Stone to not throw the fight, it would make O'Leary lose, and then like maybe the mob had killed him. But I've done it the other way where I told him to take a dive and told him about his father, and he ends up dead anyways. That's also the only flash forward we get past the events of the game. You don't even know. We don't even get to learn who won the stupid fight. There's like the awkward picture
Stone
of
and Yale
them.
hadn't taken away the
But it
bitterness
made
I felt.
them a little closer, like they're about to kiss.
I needed a friend.
Oh, look at those pancakes.
In appreciation for the tip I'd given him,
Pancakes.
he insisted on buying me a milkshake.
Almost
that he
done.
drank.
Almost done with this game.
After the perfect storm of corruption and murder, only friendship could reconcile me with the world. Only that could make me believe
that
in
a Zep?
mankind again. Only that could cleanse my soul.
Textures.
Only that. And money.
Cheating. Payday. I think after everything's said and done, he's blocks it so like I still expect to get paid, so you know. Blacksad still sends the invoice to Thorpe
Yale
Agency.
and Stone would be punished for breaking the rules. There would be justice for Sonia, the victim. if this was the real world. As the detective who had cracked the case, I just had to get my paycheck and be on my way.
Let's go through these dialogue options.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Blacksad. Mr. Thorpe is on his way. Care to take a seat while you wait?
I guess I'll just have to wait.
He'll be here in a minute. Please, take a seat.
Still recording. Whoops. Just distracted by Smirnoff. That hands me is that rooster.
That's not possible. But what if Tim Thorpe was somehow involved in Mitchell's operation?
Mr. Blacksad? Mr. Thorpe is running later than expected, but he insists on meeting you, if you don't mind.
Sure, as long as you help me fight off this boredom.
That's not in my job description, but...
Here we go. Male gaze right there. Sexy cheetah cleavage. Secretary cleavage, too. Come on. I heard that huff. My dog says piggy piggy oink oink.
Hunch is right. There should be a meeting with Mitchell noted somewhere in Thorpe's agenda. Well, you see, I've got a problem. In order to figure out how much Mr. Thorpe owes me, I need to know what day I started working on the case. But I can't remember. You wouldn't have that written down, would you?
It sure wasn't on my shift. I remember. Let me see.
But a cat like you, a fine, sexy kitty. Also, like after he walks away from the counter, I wonder if she like checks out his ass because she kind of like leans over and kind of looks at it, at like his backside, and she kind of like dismisses him. He probably knows like, gay. The cross-out ones are canceled appointments. Also, he conveniently, like, out of the blue, just canceled all his appointments and left for the weekend. Yeah.
Dunn was here 2 days before he died? Why didn't Thorpe ever mention that?
I'm sorry, but your name's not on here.
Wait, I just remembered something. The day I came, Joe Dunn had just walked out the door.
Well, no. You don't have any appointments. Although, I guess I could have forgotten to write you in. Mr. Dunn, who's usually very kind, left in a flurry. He even slammed Mr. Thorpe's door.
Okay. Now I know I have to get into Thorpe's office.
And he didn't even say goodbye.
Yes, that was the day. You don't recall me because the minute I saw Dunn stomp out, I followed him. I never actually came in.
Of course. That explains it.
No doubt.
Gullible secretary.
So, since it looks like Mr. Thorpe won't be here soon, I think I'll go take a walk down the hall. Gotta stay in shape.
So all the other ones, all the other deductions, I think are railroaded, so... See? In shape, what is he talking about? I wonder if that's what it is. Like, he doesn't look it like he's in shape.
Should I play the Smirnoff trump card again?
Let's talk to Daddy Smirnoff. We get more clues for another deduction, but that deduction still seems to be broken.
Didn't know what to think. He asked me to watch out and call him as soon as I had more information. He also told me that Gil had finally talked. He denied having blocked the basement door and said the truck door opened, but he got knocked on the head as soon as he tried to get out. He then woke up when the police found him beside the basement door. Obviously, the same person who had jammed the door had carried him there.
Deduction. And here we got like some foreshadowing at the beginning because the
So, you had something to do with that chest expander after all.
He posed with the chest expander for like, you know, promo pic and stuff for the box art. But he doesn't actually own one. So that was pretty smart to throw. Looks would have his fingerprints on it.
It's a bit strange to see no office chair behind a desk, until you remember the desk's owner is in a wheelchair. Of course. Oh, crap.
I think this is where like the deductions get deleted.
In every investigation, there comes a point where every single lead seems to go down the drain. And you have to retrace your steps to get back on the right track.
Hello, PlayStation. So you're not recording.
One of the his strength, the accuracy of his throw. I earned the nickname.
Okay, the texture's loaded correctly, because sometimes this thing shows up really blurry.
And yeah, went wherever it wanted. And my coach, the great Joffrey Sachs. And so I worked hard. Pearl Harbor. I enlisted immediately. After losing a partner in combat, a serious injury, I asked to be relocated. I became a sniper. I know I shouldn't say this, but I was one of the best in the army, and it was all thanks to my accuracy. No, it was all thanks to Jeffrey Sachs. I wonder how many Americans that man saved with my arms. After these words, Tim Thorpe is moved almost to tears and asks me to take a break.
Such a handsome,
it's shocking to see how
handsome
an
young
athlete and soldier,
lion.
a man whose aim
Thorpe
and
is
skill
sexy
won
too.
him a Medal
He's
of
sexier
Honor
older.
and the nickname
The
Surgeon
sexy daddy.
among his brothers in arms. That can't be. I mean, it could be a coincidence, but no.
Alright. Let's see. We can wrap up this game. Trying to get like a decent recording for my video. Forget these. Some of these get confusing. Well, when in doubt, look it up. So, Cypher kill Rando. These 2 blanks. First one. Physical limitations, can't walk, he uses a wheelchair, bottle. But if he walks...
That's it. Thorpe is the man behind the whole drug operation. Wait, what if Groon's drugs helped Thorpe walk? Of course, it wasn't Mitchell or Gill. It was Thorpe who shot Randall at the hospital. Everything adds up now. And yet I can already hear Smirnoff telling me I have no conclusive evidence. What if I set a trap for Thorpe? But how? if I place Thorpe's gun up there and corner him so that he has to stand up to get it?
Aha! It worked! Yay! Haha, sweet! It's about damn time.
The show was about to begin. All I needed was an audience and some patience.
Stop it!
Arr! Don't you know who you're dealing with, matey?
What a silly man.
Mutiny! You wants to be shark-bait, do ya? Oh, Blacksad. I feel terrible for keeping you waiting.
John.
But you see, there was mutiny on board, so...
Stop.
You see what I have to put up with. All right, helmswoman, to the cabin with you! Onward!
Aye, aye, Captain.
Come along, Blacksad. Julie, don't let anyone bother us.
Since I got my trophy, I am going to stop playing.
Honey.
I really need to. One, because I really need to go to the bathroom, and two, I need to get ready for my next stream. I'll be podcasting over with Lessons Learned 1 here on Twitch. You can also find him on YouTube, Lessons Learned. Go to check out his channel. We're probably going to start streaming at around 11, so about 45 minutes from now. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out. As you see, I got my trophy. Sweet.
You
so
see,
my guide
I'm
works
not gonna pay you
for the
for solving
PlayStation
the
4
case.
version, and it seems to be fixed.
Wow.
Well,
I thought you were the kind of man
thank you
who
everyone
was
for
true to
hanging
his
out,
word.
and I will see you later. Bye.
No, it's not that. You'll get every penny we agreed on, and more.